Hello, I thought I would do a quick video, something that's been intriguing me lately. So I pulled up my multimeter and I've been fascinated to find out how much voltage do we carry in our body based on our surroundings. It's this idea, again, that we're not properly grounded, that we're often insulated from the ground. We wear rubber shoes, our homes are insulated off the ground. So I just thought I would do some testing. So I've got my multimeter here, and it is connected to a wall plug where it's plugged into the ground. So one side of the multimeter is going into the ground. I'm holding the other test lead, and whatever I touch this to, this is going to tell me the difference in voltage between the thing I touch and the ground. So if I touch myself, then it's going to register the voltage that's in me. So it was before at about 0.20, so 0.2 volts. When I touch the lead, it goes up to 0.95. I'm barefoot right now on the floor. I've been wearing flip-flops trying. Whether I'm wearing rubber flip-flops or in my bare feet doesn't seem to matter. So let's see if I can, how can I do this in one hand? I'm going to hold the multimeter and my phone in one hand, maintaining even pressure. There we go. So my favorite spot to sit is right here in my chair. So if I sit down in my chair, how much voltage is in me? I got my feet on the ground. So I'm measuring 1.92 volts. If I sit all the way back, my head is close to the wall, so that's 2.7 volts. If I pick my feet up, it doesn't go up by very much, so insignificant amount. So there is roughly 1.8 volts. Well, let's say that that's 2.2 right there. Roughly 2 volts in my body right now. If I go around, go close to the window, get closer, roughly 2 volts there next to the window. Go next to my table, right in the center of the room, kind of, 0.75 volts. I go next to the TV, right against the TV, 4.8 volts. Moving along at the end of my cable. So if I go right against the window here, my patio door, 3.57 volts. I'm limited to the length of my cable here. So again, if I go in the middle of my room, 0.05 volts. So I've come to the conclusion that from what I've seen in other videos, our electrical wires run in the walls, and obviously there's probably current, electricity flowing through them, and that's why we see higher voltage around the walls. Over here in my corner here, I get like 4.5 volts. I'll show you that, but I'll show you something else that's really interesting. So the other place I like to sit here is this other point on my couch. So I'm gonna sit down, keep my feet on the ground. So 1.98 volts. If I pick my feet up, oh, difference there, 2.34 volts. So I'm going to switch hands. Now I've got something that is quite interesting. So over here, you can see that little green light. This is a power charging cable. So this is for my cell phones and whatnot. If I reach over and I pick up this cable, I'm now holding on to the cable, 4.5 volts. If I touch the end, look at that, 14 volts. If I take my feet off the floor, I've got over 15 volts in my body just because I picked up this cable and I'm touching the end. This is like a USB connector. So I'm holding it, right? 5 volts in my body, feet off the ground, approaching 6 volts just by holding onto this cable. If If I let it go, 2.8 volts. If I've got this cable resting on me, 3.3. So this is really interesting to me. This cable, it's like it's a leaky cable. So I often have this cable around, you know, especially when I grab one of my devices, and it's not even charging. In fact, I haven't done this yet, but let's see what happens when I grab a device and I charge it. So here I've got my tablet charging cable. So 3.68 volts. I'm just plugging it in now. 4.89 volts. If I unplug it. Okay, so 2.8 volts when not charging, and over 5 volts when it is charging. Keep in mind, this is the voltage in my body, right? I'm not connected to the wall or anything. I'm just holding on to I got the lead in my hand, and the multimeter is connected to the ground. So this is the voltage potential in my body. And again, and I also did a test to see if holding onto my cell phone changes these things, and it doesn't. This is just voltage. This isn't RF or anything. But this cable is really, really interesting to me, how that changes things. Again, I'm just gonna hold on to the cable there. I'm holding it. 4.3 volts. Let go. Yeah. So this is really interesting. And when I hold this tip, this is alarming to me. I was scratching my head going, am I doing some weird sort of wrong calculations? There's no way I should have 15 volts in my body. I mean, if that was the case, maybe I could hold on to a light bulb in the right way and a light bulb would light up just by me holding it. That's pretty bizarre. Yeah. I'm going to do some more tests. I'm going to try running the microwave to see if the microwave changes it. Again, this is not RF, which is the radio frequencies that come from our cell phones and the wireless and stuff. This is just voltage. It occurred to me to come back to my spot where I normally sit, right there. So 0.7 volts. 0.49 volts. I'm holding the lead. So now I've got that cable there, but it's not plugged in. So now when I sit down, feet on the ground, 0.134, feet off, 0.167. So even having that cable plugged in, and that's got a it's got a power adapter on the end, just by having it plugged in and having that cable near to me is inducing a voltage into my body. Fascinating. All right, so let's try the microwave. So multimeter's reading 0.1 volts, touching it now. So at this particular point where I'm standing, I've got 0.2 volts. So that's pretty good. So I got a cup of glass of water in the microwave, so let's put this on for 30 seconds. Go stand back where I was. 0.3. Put my tea on top of the cable. Moving closer to the microwave. I'm not done yet. I need another 30 seconds. All right, so probably can't see that, but 0.49 volts. I'm about 3 feet from the microwave. So not really a significant change. Here I am up in my office. So I haven't connected the multimeter yet, and I'm registering 0.6. Got it plugged into the ground again, so I'm just going to hold on to the lead. And I'm barefoot. So 3.45 volts just standing here in my office. And none of this stuff is on. Not a thing. So if I go over by the wall, right up against the wall, and this is my neighbor on the other side, 0.4 volts. My back against the closet, 3.7 volts. I'll go over by the window. .8 volts. Go stand over here next to my work equipment. So I got my laptop right there. I wonder what happens if I turn on my laptop. No change. Turn on a monitor. Turn on the other monitor. And when I sit down in my chair and I'm working away, as though I ever worked, feet on the ground, 2.9 volts. I got a blanket underneath my chair. If I put my feet on the blanket, what happens? The voltage drops. Feet back on the floor. Interesting. And if I reach my hand over here towards my monitor, I noticed when I went to go turn on the monitor, look at that. My hand's not touching the monitor, it's just stretched out. 4.5 volts. The monitor's on. I can turn it off. So it's off. Isn't that fascinating? Oh. My other monitor doesn't even have any effect. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna check out my bedroom. So here I am in my bedroom. I haven't done anything yet, so here's the lead. I'll just tuck it into my finger there. So I'm standing here on a little mat at the foot of my bed. I'm getting 2.26 volts. So if I go over to the door, tripping on the cable, can't take any measurements really while I'm walking. I don't know why, but 3.2. So over here, I've got a Google Home speaker, but it's not plugged in. Well, let me rephrase. So that connector there isn't plugged into the speaker. It is connected into the wall though. So here, if I lean closer to the wall, got my head nearly near the wall. Look at that, 3.86 volts. Move away from the wall. My head's about 2 feet away from the wall. I can't get any closer because of my dresser. So here I'm next to the wall. Here I got a corner with a lamp and a charger for my watch. I stand here next to the wall. Nearly 4 volts. So again, down here I've got one of those power adapters. So squat down here. 2.88 volts. I'm going to unplug this power adapter right there. So it drops it by 2.2 volts just by unplugging it. And plug it back in. Now what happens if I hold on to that cable? So there's my hand. I haven't touched it yet. Look at that though. As I move closer to touch it. I haven't touched it yet. See if we can tell when I touch it. Whoa! Whoa, I wasn't expecting that. Look at that. Ugh. If I had a light bulb, I'd be making the room glow. Wow. Interesting. Got my watch here. What happens when I touch my watch? Absolutely nothing. All right. Wow. So here I've got a fan in my room. And if I stand next to the fan, watch what happens when I turn on my fan. So I'm touching it, 3.52 volts. I'm not touching it anymore. There, I'm touching it. Not touching it. Turning it off. Fascinating stuff. Going over into the corner here. So I've got a little lamp and an iPad. My iPad's not plugged in. So if I turn on the lamp, what happens? So before, 2.87. So let's imagine that I'm laying in bed. I got my head on the pillow. So this is what I'm getting just normally when I'm sleeping. Turn on the light. If I'm reading in bed, it goes up by 0.5 volt. If I plug my iPad in to charge it, not much happens there. Of course, I got my feet off the ground, right? So watch this. I've got an electric mattress pad that I turn on at night to get my bed warm. Watch what happens. It's on maximum. Watch this. So I got my hand there. Press the button. I haven't pressed the button yet, but put my finger on it. There we go. Watch what happens when I press the button. Whoa! So there's been a time or two that I've fallen asleep with my electric blanket on. And of course I wake up in the middle of the night because I'm too hot. But that I'm sleeping with 14 volts in my body. So I won't be doing that. If I come next to the window here, 3.3. If I go right in the corner, 3 volts. Next to my bed, 2 volts. Again. Well, that's surprising to me. The fan's off. What happens if I unplug it? Huh. Wow, isn't this interesting? So, plug it back in. You know what? I noticed I was standing on the cord. So, look at that. By standing on the cord. I'm actually learning a lot here on this video. I'm getting surprised. What's in my bathroom here? Whoops, stepping on the cable again. Next to the sink. Yeah, that's all I need to do in the bathroom. Let me see, I got the other side of my bed. Can I reach? So here's the other side of my bed. What happens when I sit on the bed? The voltage drops. If I touch the floor, trying to touch the floor, not much of a change. So, yeah. So, hopefully you found this as interesting as I have. I'm not really sure what to do about any of these things other than just having an awareness of what's going on. So, for example, I know that I've learned that I shouldn't sleep with my electric blanket on. I also learned that where I've got my fan in my room, I don't want to have it next to my head. So I'm trying to remove all sources of electricity near where I sleep. And in the office, I'm going to do more work. I don't want to be in a high spot of voltage inducing, whatever you call it, magnetism in my office. So just by knowing what's going on is helpful. Anyway, there's a great video that I watched that got me interested in all this called The Earthing Movie. It's free. I think it's on YouTube. That's where I watched it. Really, really informative. All about the benefits of going barefoot and trying to be grounded throughout your day. Hopefully you enjoyed. I guess the last video would be, I'm down here in the basement. I was doing some testing. There doesn't seem to be anything remarkable down here other than things are really, really low. So I haven't touched anything yet. The meter's grounded, so when I touch it, I am at 0.37 now. I'm wearing flip-flops. So if I step on the ground, lift up my other foot. So I'm one-footed. Or not one-footed, but only one foot's on the ground. So 0.16. If I take my foot off of the ground, so I'm now standing on a sandal, I now have more voltage in my body. So concrete, the basement of my house on concrete seems to be grounding me pretty good when I'm in bare feet. So there's not a whole lot of interesting things going on around here. I'm right here next to my my electrical box. So see, I'm wearing my flip-flops. Take them off. Well, no, I won't. So how can I do this? Perfect. Furnace is coming on. So if I grab this bundle of wires here, it goes up to 2 volts. And of course the furnace is on, so that's interesting. That's going to change things. But if I grab this one, 5 volts. So it was only 4 a minute ago, but the furnace just came on. So there's current passing through those wires, creating a magnetic field. And I don't know. The more I talk about what's going on, the more I realize I should just stop talking. Leave that to the pros. Once again, if you've enjoyed this, watch the movie Earthing. I think you get a lot out of it. It makes me want to go barefoot and try to be grounded more and more all the time.